What's going on, everybody? Another episode here at Strength We Trust. We're excited to have another amazing guest on the show. My name is Michael Sept. I have my partner in crime, Rashawn English.
You know the vibes.
Exactly. And then our amazing guest, Chanelle Howell. I'm saying that completely right. Make sure I didn't mess that up. And we're looking forward to just having another great conversation, just spreading light on fitness, lifestyle, well-being, and just ready to rock and roll. And so Rashawn, man, how you feeling about today's episode?
I'm
Feeling
pumped.
good?
You know, I'm pumped. Chanelle is an executive recruiter. She's been a contestant on The Survivor. And this year, she actually was a runner-up on the Challenge USA, which is huge. Is it season 2 of that?
Yeah, season 2.
So that's awesome. As a rookie, which is extremely impressive. So congratulations.
Kudos.
That's massive. I remember looking some of the stuff up, and you had this list of things that are like just far out of reach that would either make you a lot of money or extremely happy.
Yeah.
And getting on The Survivor was at the top of that list.
Yeah.
So, like, is that how this all started? How you ended up getting to the challenge?
Yeah. I mean, it's been such a long road. Like, yeah, I think it was like maybe 2017, 2016. I made this list. I was like not happy in my day job. And I was like, all right, I'm going to just list out 10 things that will make me money or will make me happy.
Yeah.
And Survivor's at the top of that list. I said content creating. I said influencing. I said day trading. I said all these crazy things. But like maybe 80% of them I've actually touched, I've actually done, which is really cool. But that was what happened. And then fast forward to the pandemic, I had all this extra time on my hands. And I was like, let me pull out that list again. Yeah, you know? Yeah. I pulled out the list, and actually I ended up getting furloughed from my job during the pandemic. And so I had this extra time, and I'm like, let's see what's on this list. Like, let's see what I can, dabble in. And my friend at the time was getting into her like directing, acting bag. And she was like, hey, let me shoot your video. And I'm like, yep. So I'm sitting on my kitchen counter, I'm filming the Survivor video, and a week later they call me. And so
That's nuts.
That's nuts. Like
when they called you, like what did it feel real? Is like, is this actually happening?
I remember just jumping on my couch. I remember the moment I got the call, I wasn't going to answer because normally I don't answer calls with unknown numbers.
Oh, we all do that.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. I'm going to start picking those up because I know someone in the last couple of weeks who picked up one of those random calls and they won the lottery.
Wow.
Yeah, right. So pick up the random calls sometimes.
Sometimes, not all the time.
Yeah, so go ahead. Finish what you said.
Not the ones that say scam.
Yeah,
But it was a long road because so at the same time I'm like interviewing for jobs and things like that, and I wasn't getting them. I'd meet 10 people, 12 people, wouldn't get the role, and I was like, I was getting real frustrated. So I'm gonna just rewind a little bit. After maybe 2 or 3 no's of getting really deep in a job interview process, that's when I decided to apply to Survivor, and I got the call, and it's funny because all those jobs I'd been interviewing for, I'd just been flexing that muscle over and over, just like interviewing, knowing how to tell my story, granted in a different capacity, but like just knowing how to know your narrative, be compelling, and convey that. And so when I got the call from Survivor, I was like, shoot, I've been interviewing for the last 2 months. I'm ready, you know? So, I ended up getting, a great job offer from my dream company. And it was an investment bank, actually. And I was like, man, if I get this call from Survivor, I don't know. I might have to decide.
A little bit.
Yeah. And so I was praying hard, and I got the call from the dream job, and then I got the call from Survivor, both together. And I was like, God, listen, I want both. And, I was lucky enough for my job to give me a 2-month sabbatical.
Get out of here. That's
and it's crazy because I'm like, this is an investment bank.
Right.
Like your sole objective is like to make money.
Right.
And you're going to give me 2 months off to run around the jungle barefoot? Like, come on, So I was really blessed to get both. And it was such a beautiful experience. Like hands down, one of the most beautiful experiences of my life.
So I'm curious because, when people put lists together about goals and aspirations, right? Being on Survivor is not something that is very common. So I'm curious as to like, why was that such a passion or a dream or something that you were just like, this is what I want to do? Because that's not very common. We talk to people all the time about their
To
goals.
run around barefoot, starving and struggling.
Right. Like, why was that a thing for you?
I think for me, I always operate in life as like I'm the exception.
Right.
And so when I see people doing things, I'm like, I could do that.
Right.
But enough people don't say, I can do that, but what are the next steps? And so for me, I was like, I'm just going to film a video. You know, and so that it was really, it wasn't that simple necessarily because I'd shot videos before, but this was the first time I actually like took it seriously. And I was like, I'm going to think out my narrative. I'm going to, you know, do some research. And so I just think it is really having the follow through because a lot of people don't have follow through.
Not at all.
It's so hard to be disciplined. It's so hard to, you know, put your money where your mouth is. But like when I say I believe, like I'm so big on manifestation and manifesting. And so, yeah, I just think I manifested it.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing. No,
Yeah.
seriously, that's like.
So I'm assuming you were a fan of the show before.
Yeah, I was. I was a fan. I was a fan for maybe like the last like 5 or 6 years beforehand. I wasn't like a lifelong fan, you know?
It's been around for multiple.
23 years.
Decades, right? I was supposed to say multiple decades now.
23 years, yep. But I was like, I liked it enough to say I want to do that.
I want to do that, yeah. So what was the actual experience though? Like being out there, like is it as real as they try to make it seem on TV? Like what does that feel like going through that experience?
Yeah, I will say this. I didn't eat for, I think it was 12 days. I had my first meal on day 12. And
12 days of no food.
12 days of no food. And it's funny because we have medical staff like on site. And I'm like, yo, how long until like our organs start to fail from no food? And she's like, 14 days. I'm like, baby, it's day 12.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here?
Right, like you pushing the envelope right now.
Yeah, so I think it was 11 or 12 days. And the first thing I had was a little thing of rice. And it's real. You are sleeping outside under the rain. The rain is pouring on you. I've had my lowest lows in life on that show, hands down, right? Because you are sleep deprived. You're starving, literally starving. Your body's eating away at itself.
Exactly.
And you are also playing this strategic type of game where everyone's fucking with you. You know, everyone's lying.
Nobody's genuine. Everybody's trying to survive.
Yeah. So it was so much fun, but it was so hard, so taxing on your body. But I think that I've learned some really interesting like things about myself, you know. Like you said, my background is in corporate recruiting, executive recruiting. And so I'm so used to coming to the space as like suit and tie, buttoned up, right? And it was so hard for me to unlearn. No. Like you can take up space and be yourself. And I actually didn't learn that lesson until after. So I wasn't able to be myself on the show. I wasn't able to take up space because I had that mental block. But I saw all these other people around me
just
doing it so unapologetically. And that empowered me, right, to start taking up space, to start being myself, to stop like shying away from who I am or trying to cover parts of my personality because I need to be this like very straight up and down type of person. So learned a lot about myself, a lot about the world.
It's crazy that you have to go through such an extreme experience to find that out.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people go just about their business day by day and they never have to or forced to explore themselves because they're never put in an environment where they have to do so. And I think, I mean, don't get me wrong, you wanted to be there, but I guess it was like a blessing and a curse. And I think that's priceless.
And we talk about like this comfort crisis.
Yeah, we talk about this all the time. Yeah,
like we can control the temperature of the room we're living in. We have, you know, in terms of nutrition, we live in this world of abundance. You could walk down the shelves and there's thousands of calories just at your fingertips. And you're talking about going 12 days with no food. Like it, you know, you wanted that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You wanted to be uncomfortable. Was that something that you thought about, like intentionally chasing discomfort? Because it seems like that's part of
like a drive. That's like a part of who you are. Yeah, for sure.
I've never thought about it like that, intentionally chasing discomfort. I think I thought about it from an ego perspective. Like, I'm going to be on TV, you know? Like, look, mama, I made it. I'm going to be on TV.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean, I knew that the hard parts were going to come, but I was excited for them because I was excited to see like what I would do, how I would react in that space. Like I've done other difficult experiences, just in like doing humanitarian work and, you know.
The trip to Cameroon.
Yes, exactly. Things like that, which I was like, I want to live like how other people live. I want to experience other cultures.
Yeah.
And so I do, I guess, in a way, chase those types of experiences. When I'm in them, I'm like, what did I get myself into?
Yeah, and it's not that you're chasing suffering, right? But it's just chasing, you know, just coming out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Stepping into something different where, you know, you can't control what's going to happen. It's just a new environment. Something that you really want. And I think that's admirable, because I think too many people are stuck in their comfort zone and they don't search for challenges. And those challenges are where you really evolve.
Yeah.
And you talk about, you already mentioned that, right? Like you went through some of your biggest challenges in Survivor, but that unlocked a different side of you.
Yeah.
So now I'm curious now, because like you come back from Survivor now, right? And does it change your perspective on like your own health and idea about like what you want to do with your life, or like how you want to approach things? Like how does that affect going from an extreme situation like that to like, now I'm just back to the world now. I'm walking down the street to work, and it's like these people have no idea what the heck I was just going through about for the last 2 months. Like how does that affect your day-to-day now when you come back? Is it just like jumping on the bandwagon again, or is it a little different?
No, I wasn't back to myself until like a year after filming.
A year.
There you go.
Whole year.
Exactly.
Physically, my body wasn't back to myself because I starved. So I lost so much muscle, so much fat. I lost everything basically. So it took me to get about a year, but mentally, it took me about a year as well, because I mean, you think that because you're in such a deceitful game, you think that everyone is like conspiring against you. Or like, I remember like going back to work, and I think my boss walked away from the desk once and went to talk to someone. I'm like, oh my God, is he talking about me? Am I going to get fired? Like, and you start to spiral because you're
of the environment.
Yes, because you've been in that state, you know, for so long. And so like, it took me a while to get back. It did change it changed my relationship with food too, right? Because when you starve for so long, you get it. You're like, oh my gosh, I need to indulge. I might not ever have it again, right? So you have to rebuild a healthy relationship with food again, which is really interesting. But yeah, it has so many, it takes so many tolls on your body that you're not aware of in the moment, essentially.
Of course. And I like that you said relationship with food, because we talk about this all the time, is that people look at food as like diets and fads and these quick fixes, right? And we talk about all the time is like, you have to have a healthy relationship with food, because it's going to directly correlate to your psyche, your emotional well-being, your day-to-day life. So the fact that you even use those terms is you've been doing the work. You've been doing the work. Yeah, you can tell. You can tell that you've been doing the homework, because a lot of people don't even use that terminology when it comes to like the way that they go about their food choices.
Yeah.
But so like, you know, you're back to real life now,
yeah,
which is amazing. You're thriving, making things happen.
Yeah.
And now you're like, I want to be uncomfortable again.
So you go on the challenge.
Yeah, like this is crazy to me, because like we've been athletes our whole lives.
Yeah.
And we've competed and we've been very uncomfortable, but you're like going for like the gusto here.
Yeah.
So I want to know, like, so now what, when you come back from that, and what makes you decide, was the challenge on the list too?
No, it wasn't.
Okay, so the whole nother list now.
There was no, this is like a continuation of the first list. No, listen, I didn't do as well as I wanted to in Survivor.
Okay.
And there was a pipeline from Survivor, Big Brother, all these CBS shows to the challenge is a pipeline. And so I'm like, oh no, I want to go on the challenge. I want to go on a show that's going to play directly into my strengths, which is like being strong, being athletic, being physical, versus versus Survivor is more of a social game, right? You get voted out by your peers, but in the challenge, you get to fight for your life. And so if you train, if you're strong, if you're good at puzzles, if you're smart, like you can make it. You can make it. You can save yourself.
Right.
And so I decided I wanted to go on the challenge. And it's so funny. I decided in July that I wanted to do the challenge, maybe June or July. And the challenge, let me just be clear, did not start like recruiting or didn't give me a call until January or February.
Really? So
So this is me in my manifestation bag again, being like, I want to go on the challenge and I'm going to train for it now because I know they're going to call me.
Yep.
And I just started training, every day, not every day, maybe like 5 or 6 days a week.
What did that look like?
Well, I found a gym, a great gym, Trooper Fitness. Actually, I found a
Shout
great
out
gym.
to Trooper
Yeah,
Fitness.
shout out to Trooper. I found a really great gym. And the thing that actually kind of kept me consistent was, number one, the goal of that, but number two, community. I didn't realize
Huge.
how
It's
important
Huge.
community
Yep.
is
Massive.
when you're working out. Like having people that are excited to see you when you walk in the door, that push you. And so like those things kept me really, really focused. But just back on the manifestation thing, I think it was like 4th of July weekend, and a friend of mine, she's like, oh yeah, let's get, take some shots, whatever. I was like, no, I can't drink. I'm training for the show I'm going to be on. And literally had not even gotten a call, but I was like, no. And she looked at me like I was crazy. But like, that is the level of like belief that I had, that I was like,
that's incredible.
I'm going to be on the show.
But that's rare though.
Manifest this $1 million.
Yeah. I'm like, hold on,
It's
man.
coming. It's coming.
I'm like, subscribers. Come on, bring it.
It's coming.
But no, that's amazing just to have that mental fortitude to just know that like, I want this. This is gonna happen.
Yeah.
And all these other extenuating things that are outside, like you got to put them on the back burner.
It's so wild for me to think about that you said no to the drinks, and you hadn't even been accepted on the show yet.
Hadn't even been called.
Hadn't been called, and this is 6 months out.
Yeah, this is 9 months out.
9 months out.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
you're
9 months out from filming, 6 or 7 months out from the first call I ever got.
That's
so there is no coincidence why you did as well as you did.
No.
Like you had been preparing for it.
Yes, I've been training. So it started off with the gym, right? Which is, again, why I say community is so important when you find a fitness routine, just having people to hold you accountable.
You got to find your tribe, and that's going to look different for everyone. We talk about this on previous episodes where for whatever you're into, just find a group of people who do that, and that's going to increase your likelihood for success.
Yeah,
they're going to hold you accountable, like you said, and you're going to enjoy being a part of that culture.
Yeah. That was the first. I think step in me being like really excited to train, because normally I'd been just like, oh, I gotta run, I gotta do this, and just being like dreading it. But I think it changed from like, no, I get to do this. This is exciting.
It's an opportunity.
Exactly. Like I get to prepare for this show that I know I'm gonna be on. Like, so again, my relationship with training started to evolve once I attached it to a goal too, which is really cool. So, I did that. I got a membership at like a community pool, started swimming a couple times a week, started running, started doing puzzles on my phone, like, the whole night.
You're trying to do an Ironman or something too now? Like you're training for everything. Like he's trying to cross out all the I's for all the T's.
Once you started doing all these things, did you feel like you as a person changed? Did you feel like the people you spent time with, that changed, and just how you approach things, was that different as a result?
This was the first time in my life I ever experienced true discipline, like true discipline. So a lot changed, just like where I would be excited to spend my time, right? I was like, no, I got to prioritize getting to bed early because I need to recover from that hard ass workout that I just did, And so that started to change. But I think the most important thing was like my mindset really evolved. Like I was like lasered in, I was focused. Truly in my 30 years of life had never experienced consistent discipline before this. So that was really exciting for me. And now I carry that with me, right? Like I know that like, given the level of discipline I've already shown and exhibited, I'm like, I can literally apply that anywhere else if I like put the steps in, attach it to a goal, and decide to just go and do it.
It's crazy. Like and this is, we laugh about this all the time, is like when we talk about getting people to sit down with us, we're like, we want people to say what we're saying without us telling them what we want them to say. And it happens all the time.
Organically.
And it happens organically. And we preach this to everybody. We're like, if you make sound choices when it comes to like your health and well-being, it's going to directly correlate to other things within your life without you even trying. And the fact that you're doing that and like, you're just repeaing everything.
It's funny. Our last reel that we posted on Instagram was exactly just that.
Exactly just that. And it's just lovely to hear it. So now like I'm curious now, when you get the call, are you jumping on the couch the same way?
Or it's like, I knew this was coming.
Or are you like,
what took you so long?
What took y'all so long to call me now? That's what I want to know.
You know what? I think I was home when I got the call. I actually got an Instagram DM first. And I was like...
Oh, sneaking the DM trying to get you out? Okay.
Listen, we've evolved. Communication has evolved, you know? Listen, right? And I was like, shut the front door. That's crazy. Not real. I'm like, I can make myself available anytime for golf. You want to call me right now, tomorrow? Like, so I was really excited, but I knew that it was a long shot still because, again, I wasn't a main character on Survivor. I didn't do that well. And in my head, there were so many people that were ahead of me in line to get chosen, right? And so chosen to play on the spinoff. Because let me tell you, everybody's dream is to go from Survivor to get called to do another show, right? And so for me, feeling in my head like the least relevant person for my season, I'm like, there's no way y'all are calling me. Which also kind of just leans into like, when something is supposed to be yours, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks, like it's going to be yours. And the beautiful thing about this is like, as me feeling the least relevant person for my Survivor season, I was the only person from my season going on the challenge. The only person.
So nobody else ended up on like...
Not one person.
So that's amazing.
Yeah. And the last 2 seasons or 3 seasons, it was myself and one other girl.
Get out of here. Oh, so it was meant to be.
Yeah. So
100%. It was your time.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So because I went back and I had to watch a couple of the clips.
Which ones?
So I'll just say,
which ones?
You're a savage. Like you're a
wait. I told you how we met. We met playing cornhole at Trooper Fitness, and I'm an athlete, so I can.
We gonna talk our ish. Yeah, we gonna talk our ish.
I can smell the competitiveness, and I'm like, she's serious about winning this game. Like I thought we were just having a leisure game. It was no big deal. She was serious, and I was like, oh, okay.
Like this cornhole, don't let it fool you.
We're not going to talk about the outcome,
it's $1 million game.
But she was the MVP for her team. Not gonna lie.
I was
very impressed.
Okay, so it translates to everything then.
And then when I actually got introduced to her, I was like, oh, it totally makes sense.
Yep,
it totally makes sense.
Check.
Yeah, 1,000%.
So I saw the last clip, and I think it was you had to pretty much go through the skinny cylinder where both of you guys had to like push past each other to get to the point.
Oh, the hall brawl. Yes.
And I'm like, yo, you hog tossed her. Yo, like I play football and I've watched people get flipped and landed on their head. You flipped her like it was butter. So I'm like, what? The Survivor and a challenge are completely different.
Yes.
The way you mentally approach it, physically approach it. So how did you differentiate between the two? Because I've watched like both and like they're not the same. Like you can't be the same person on Survivor and be the same person on the challenge. You have to approach it completely different. So like how was that for you going from one to the other?
I think I had a lot of learning lessons from Survivor just about listen, on Survivor, I was chaotic. I was like, I'm going to randomly vote for this person. I'm going to randomly wager my vote when I didn't need to. I was really chaotic. And so I wanted to be a little bit more methodical on the challenge. But I also knew that I could play like a little bit looser too because at the end of the day, like I feel like I can physically back up anything that I do, right?
1,000%.
If I need to go into an eliminate, So I think it was more so like I knew that I had to play loyal on the challenge because it's a more loyal game versus Survivors. Every person for themselves. Like you get a gold star if you stab your best friend in the back on Survivor.
Right.
So I think that was really it. But really I don't think you can really like plan your strategy that much for the challenge.
You gotta
gotta see who's in the house, vibe with who you vibe with, be loyal to your people, which I was. And
you guys did your thing to the end.
We did. I was really proud of us. And when you gotta fight for your life, you gotta fight for your life. You might have to drop somebody in a hallway,
Which you definitely did.
Man, I need to see this clip.
Nah,
I'm a wrestler. I enjoy stuff like that. So
if you're a wrestler, you gotta see the oil wrestling.
She's a beast. I'm trying to tell you.
Oh wow. I need to see these clips.
Yeah.
I need to see.
I was very impressed. And like I haven't and this is before I haven't seen any training session. I haven't seen what training looks like for you. I'm just going by like what the physical activity is. And I was like, oh, her training is she's not playing in training.
But this is also just you. You just competitive by nature. Where did that come from? I imagine that started at an early age. Like, where did that drive to just compete come from?
I think I've just always been competitive. Even if you see me in Connect 4, Monopoly, I get into it. Okay.
Oh, yeah, I'm serious about Monopoly.
Yeah, listen, you're gonna be crying.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, you speaking my language because him and I, we used to live together, and he knows me well enough to know we compete in. I compete in
anything. It doesn't matter what it is. Game time.
I'm terrible. Like I'm game time on everything. So you're like speaking my language right
Like
now.
even stupid things like we'd pass each other the remote. We threw it. And if you didn't catch it, that was a problem.
Yeah.
Like,
oh no, I was like all over that. Like I'd just be sitting there flipping a remote and I'd be like,
think fast.
Like,
and you just gotta catch it.
And if he dropped it, I wouldn't let him hear the end of it for like the rest of the day. So I know I love
operate.
I love
yeah, tell us like
please, where did that come from?
You know what? I don't know. I maybe being a daddy's girl. Like my dad, he wanted. I'm sure he wanted a son, but he got daughters. And
how many sisters do you have?
I've 3 sisters.
3 sisters.
Yes, 3 sisters.
All girls.
I have a little brother, but
I'm about to say I know your dad was like, what is going on here?
yeah. So you know, my dad actually was my basketball coach when I was younger, and it's so funny because when everyone else would play, right at the end of practice, everyone gets to scrimmage, which is fun. And I'd be like, oh, I'm so excited to scrimmage. My dad would be like, nope, over there, left hand layups.
Yep.
And I would just be like, but you know what? That was ingrained in me. While everyone else is playing, you're working, you're focusing on the fundamentals. And that's where I think my competitive nature really was groomed and blossomed, was like literally working so closely with my dad. In the summer, he would wake me up early. We're going to the courts. Like, no, like you don't get to sit around, play video games or hang out, ride your bike. It's like, I mean, I did that stuff too, right?
Right, you're gonna be a kid still, yeah.
Yeah, but it was also like, there was a lot of discipline there.
Yeah, there was structure.
Yeah.
And that's what, and it's crazy is because when you see people in life, when they come from homes like that, they just tend to perform better. They tend to do better in life. And that's with any aspect. So it's like, it's just crazy how it just goes to show, like, no matter what you do for a living, having structure and having like an athletic or just an athletic background as you're growing up, it's going to always translate. I don't care where you come from.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I'm a new father. My son's a year and a half. So like, I'm trying to, plan for like how I want to raise him. Like every day I'm thinking about like, what do I need to do with him? Because there's no real playbook for, right? There are all these books out there. There's all these TikTokers and influencers saying you got to do X, Y, and Z. But like every child is so different, and everyone's circumstances are so different. But you want the best outcome for your child, and I'm continually learning just the best way to raise him, because the world is a weird place, and I want him to be strong in all the things that we're talking about in a podcast,
100%.
Mentally, physically, spiritually. You want to have his community, and I'm know that I'm gonna be in his corner like every step of the way.
Yeah.
But so shout out to your dad. That's awesome.
He did.
I know he's really proud of you.
Yeah, I think so.
And are you the oldest?
No, I'm the middle child.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so you the crazy one.
You're the crazy one.
Clearly, right? Clearly, Survivor, the challenge.
Clearly,
yeah. Like you
checks out.
So I'm sure, like in comparison to your siblings, like you are over here.
Yes.
They are over here.
Yes.
And that's cool though.
100%.
But everybody in the family.
This is so funny how that works.
Yeah,
but that's how it is. That's how it is.
I'm the eldest. We're both the eldest.
Yeah.
All right, so you're responsible.
Yep.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah.
Kind of.
It's hard to call him responsible, but I guess so.
I'm working on it. But so it's it's crazy now is we how do I put this here is like, so you come back from the challenge now and you perform very well, by the way. You guys made it to the finals.
Yes.
And so what is like that experience in the finals, like where like you've busted your hump to get this far? Like what's the mindset going into that finals? Because like I said, we've competed at like a high level in sports. It's like when you make it to like a championship of anything, it's not the same approach anymore. So like, how do you tap in? Like, what are you thinking about? What's going through your head?
Yeah, you know what's so funny? I don't even know, because the show just ended like a couple weeks ago. So I don't even know if I've fully realized like the gravity of what was happening or what I went through or what I went to get there and the outcome. But it all feels like one blob. Like, yes, I made it to the final. Like, of course, right? That was supposed to happen. Right. It's almost like when you see yourself every day and you're losing weight, you're like, oh, I don't really see a difference. But then when you step out of it, you're like, whoa. Right. And I think that was the magnitude of reaching the final. I was nervous, right? Because it's my first final. I know it's supposed to be grueling. It's going to be hard. It's going to be tough. I don't think I've ever done anything that difficult before in my life. And I just remember, part of it is, the first day is trials and you do different little stations, a physical strength station, a puzzle station, an eating station, a spelling station. But the second day was endurance. And the endurance part was where I knew you're going to separate the people that have it here and the people that don't. And throughout the stations, it's a 10-mile trek up a mountain. I ran part of it, walked part of it. Some of it is like on all fours climbing up. And like you're doing it with a 25-pound rock in your I had mine in my backpack. Some other people carried theirs. And
you did the right thing, by the way.
By the way, you did the
I was the only one. I was the only one who did that, which is so funny.
Yeah.
Strategy sees power of mind.
Yeah,
there you go.
But I just remember telling myself these affirmations over and over. You can do anything for 30 seconds. And, your mind is the first thing to quit. Your body actually won't quit first.
Glad you know this.
And so I would just say this stuff over and over to myself while I'm doing this. Is like, your mind quits before your body does. You can do anything for 30 seconds. Just run, 30 seconds walk. And so I would just tell myself this over and over. And there were points where I tapped out mentally. There were points that I gave up. I was like, you know what? I'm already in last place. Because you can't see where other people are on the trail. And I'm like, I'm already in last place. Like, it doesn't even matter. But then I had to like reel it back in, And so like that mental fortitude is just so important because you're the only voice when you're doing these like long, marathons or
there's nobody there with you.
There's no one there with you but the voice in your head, which is why it's so important that that voice in your head. You make sure it nurtures you, it feeds you, it encourages you. Like it's so important. So I think it was just more so the endurance portion was really, really hard. But I just kept telling myself my affirmations and eventually.
I think that's so important that you touch on that because that self-talk is so important. What's going on in your subconscious is so important because even though like you had that moment in time where you feel like you mentally broke, I think that's normal. Everyone goes through that. But if you're telling yourself these affirmations that you got this, you could do anything for 30 seconds 100 times and somebody else only told it to themselves 10, you're winning.
Yeah. I am such a huge, huge supporter of self-talk. Like, I'll catch myself saying negative things to myself about my body or whatever. And I'll be like, don't talk to yourself like that. Like, would you let someone else talk to you like that?
Nope.
No, don't talk to yourself like that.
Exactly.
And it's just so important because your voice is the only voice that you hear in your head.
Exactly.
And it's like, if that's what you're saying to yourself, you're going to start to believe that stuff.
1000%. Yeah, like
do you have any
self-projection is everything.
For like how you've trained yourself to think like that?
You know what? I don't know if I have any strategies, but I just catch myself when I start to go down that rabbit hole. I catch myself and I'm like, don't talk to yourself like that.
Yeah, it's having like mental brake pads. Like if you catch yourself going off the tracks a little bit, you got to put the brakes on.
Yeah,
and that's all. You just got to put yourself back on the tracks.
Even if you don't believe it.
Yep.
Even if you're like, man, me putting the brakes back on the track or realigning, it feels really fake or forced. Still,
it's not though. Yeah.
Still say it because eventually you'll start to believe the things.
1000%. Even if like a lot of times like when we talk about this, like even if it's repeating, like it might seem like corny or you're repeating the same thing over and over, but like having those ingrained statements in your head, they're going to force you to create better habits. Like whether you fully believe it when you say it, you don't have to really fully believe it, but just get in the habit of just saying those kind of things.
Yeah.
It's going to catch up.
Yeah.
It's funny because, with my son, bringing it back to him for a second, in the mornings, my wife has this thing. She said to him, I am Axel, I am strong, I am smart, I am kind. And that's a regular routine.
Yeah.
We're trying to instill it in him early.
Yeah. That is going to formulate his personality, how he feels about himself, the world around him. That's amazing.
Yeah. So, I recognize it's so important. And that's just from, life experience, from reading lots of books, from hearing hundreds of people's stories, because it's the same thing. It's just that controlling that self-talk, manifests into what you do in real life.
Yeah.
So that's huge. And it made a difference.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Clearly. So I'm like, this is all, but you're very impressive. So I'm just like, so now you're like clicking all cylinders now. So you're back to real life now.
Yeah.
And what's the work and career looking like for you
Wait,
now?
it's only been a few weeks.
That's what I'm saying. She's back. That's why I said just back to real life. Like, this is very fresh. Like,
well, yeah. So I filmed from April to June in Croatia, and then it aired from August to end of October.
Yep.
So we're 3 weeks post
it very
airing.
Fresh.
Yeah. And so it is very new. But you know what? I was really inspired by all of the people that I play with, right? They're all amazing entrepreneurs in their own rights. They, have been able to take something as cool as a challenge and use that as a building block for, their entrepreneur endeavors to build their careers. And so I'm like, again, here's me. Why not me? Why can't I also, build the career and the life that I want?
Yep.
So, I'm like, for a long time, I was like, what do I go into? Like, do I try and do fitness?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. Let's think about what like, talent strategy, recruiting. Like, let's just start talking about that.
Yep.
And let's try and do a consulting type of project. And it is, blossomed incredibly just by me kind of talking about career coaching and recruiting tips and things like that on TikTok. Went very viral. Was able to launch my business and, get, clients, which is great. And essentially what I do is I help people step into the careers of their dreams. And so a lot of people don't have the insight that I have because I've built recruiting programs at some of the biggest companies in the world. So I know what a great resume looks like. I know what great interviews look like. And so I hack the career search process from an insider.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Like,
And
people need it.
People need it. And I feel like, because it's like you have people out there who are probably qualified for jobs and they just don't know how to carry themselves, articulate themselves, like how to present themselves, how do they sound, like their tone and those little nuances to it. And I feel like having somebody like yourself, it just takes them from a 5 to an 8 or an 8 to a 10.
Yeah. Most people that I talk to have the fundamentals and they've done the actual work, but they just don't know how to articulate it.
Yep.
And they don't know how to they just need some refinement. And so that's what I'm here to do, right? I'm here to pull out the stuff that you did that you didn't even realize was important and impactful and, sand the edges and make it a nice polished kind of product.
100%.
Because I remember the few times I interviewed, because I worked a handful of jobs, but I just remembered that process of getting the interview. Like, first of all, doing my resume, I had so much anxiety around setting up the resume. Yeah, I would pay anybody a large sum of money to just write it for me.
Yeah.
Like, once I got in front of somebody, fine, talking, no problem.
Yep.
But doing the resume, all the stuff leading up to the interview was stressful.
Yeah.
So I know there are hundreds of thousands of people that can relate to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I just take the stress off of you and I do it for you. I do everything.
Yeah, well, that's
Sure.
we gonna make sure we
gonna make sure
where to find you.
We're gonna tell people where to find you. Yeah, for sure.
I got some friends who need help.
Yeah.
I got some friends who need help.
100%. 100%. How long is this project that you've been working on? How long have you been? 'Cause I know the TikTok went viral. How long ago was that now?
So I launched my career consulting business in July.
Which is crazy. All this is very fast.
Yeah.
Very fast.
And then it's so funny. Literally just yesterday, I saw an article about myself. I had no idea this article existed, but it was top 20.
Manifest?
Yeah. It's top 20 career coaches you should be following on TikTok. And I was number 1. And I was like,
what?
How? Okay.
I was like, houseway.
Okay.
Let's go.
Houseway. How did this happen?
Let's go.
But I mean, I don't know. I think that about probably everything in my life. I'm like, how did this happen? God, listen, I see you. So
yeah, doing your work.
Yeah.
But you put the time in, you put the effort in, like you put your passion into it. Like that doesn't go unseen from up above at all.
Yeah.
It never does.
Yeah.
It never does.
Yeah.
If you're stepping in the right path, things are gonna come
That's
to you.
incredible. And just how everything. I believe in meaningful coincidences.
Yep.
And how it all happened,
Yes.
because it was just by chance that we met at that party.
Yeah.
Right. And
We didn't have to play cornhole together.
we did not.
We could have been like, hey, nice meeting you.
Yeah, nice meeting, and just went about our business. But this is all so fresh.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for you.
Thank you. This is a very exciting time in my life where it's the first time that I've been so outside of my comfort zone. Even with Survivor, that was an experience and the challenge, but in real life, right? Not a simulated setting. This is the first time in my life where I've been so outside of my comfort zone, so dependent on like myself, right? As an entrepreneur, right?
Mhm.
You sink or you swim depending
Mhm.
on the amount of work that you put in.
Oh yeah, we know this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so it's really exciting. But the thing is, I'm not afraid, right? I used to have a lot of anxiety when I was in my early 20s, and I don't have anxiety. Like, I'm just really excited to see like what's
What
gonna
happens
happen
next?
to me. Yeah.
That's amazing. So what do you? I mean, it's all fresh now, but you got any big things you
On
think
this list.
on this list? There's just something that you haven't checked on the list.
And you don't have
yet?
to tell us.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
Like,
But,
Being a millionaire.
all right, yeah, no.
manifest it.
Manifest
Yeah,
it. Put it
yeah,
out there. Put it out there. That's
yes.
fine.
You know, I don't know.
You don't have to share. It's okay.
I think, well, it's funny because I was actually talking to someone about my bucket list, and I was like, I feel like I've done so many things.
Yeah.
I think it'll continue to evolve as like, experiences
As it
happen
should.
and
As
things
it
like
should.
that. But I'm happy right now. I'm just trying to really build my business, see how far it'll take me. Like, again, why not me? Why can't it take off for me?
Yeah. And I think more people need to hear things like that. More
Yeah.
people need to understand that, like, whatever your goals are, whatever your aspirations are, like, you deserve them if you're willing to put the work in. Like, don't deter yourself if you see somebody else doing X or somebody else doing Y or somebody else that's made this goal happen before you did. Like, your time will come clearly because you've had it. This is all happening in a very short period of time.
Why not me?
Why not
I
me?
think that's gonna be the title of this.
That's definitely going to be the title of the
Yeah.
episode is Why Not Me?
It's like the reoccurring theme seems to be like, just don't be afraid to step outside your comfort zone.
Yeah, and it's so interesting too now because like when you think about social media and accessibility, like you can just put your thing out there. Maybe the first one flops, maybe it does well, maybe it's gonna take you 1,000 tries to like finally feel like you're validated, but like the time is now more than ever where you
1,000,
can 100% like venture out on your own without a huge like without having like a huge platform behind you.
Yep.
Like people can put out their music, you can put out your podcast, you can put out your art, you can say, I want to be an online fitness coach and start putting out your videos. Like you have, the means in the palm of your hand to start like shoot something on your iPhone.
You just have to take the next step.
Yeah.
Shoot your shot.
Yeah, shoot your shot.
That's it.
Shoot your
Shoot your shot.
That's the
100%.
theme.
Yeah, because I mean, like him and I, like it's crazy to think that we've only been doing this for a couple of months, sitting here with each other,
Started this in May.
and we started this in May, and it's just blossomed into this like great atmosphere for people like yourself to come in and sit down and explore their journeys and talk about their aspirations. And it's like him and I are sitting here like, shit, this is what we doing right now. We like right in
I
the
can't
mix.
believe I'm doing this.
I can't believe I'm doing this. So it's just wonderful.
But it feels amazing.
But it feels amazing.
It feels so good. So yeah, I think that's amazing. Like your story is a good one, and I know there will be so many people who, if they listen, they could take a lot of gems from it.
Yeah,
and change the trajectory of their life because it's tough, man. There's just so much toxic information out there that makes you feel like I'm not good enough, I'm not doing enough, but you just have to like take a step forward.
Yeah,
not sideways, forward.
Yeah.
Just one step at a time.
Yep.
Right foot in front of left foot. Put your blinders on. Dream bigger than you could ever imagine. See what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna definitely we're gonna have your all your contact. We're gonna have it scrolling here. People are gonna know where to reach it. We're gonna have to make sure that happens.
Yes, but tell
let them know
where they can find you.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you guys can find me at Chanelle Howell on Instagram. You can find me at Chanelle.Howell on TikTok. And then you don't need to follow me on Twitter. But it's Chanelle Howell with 3 L's on Twitter. You guys have created an incredible space, which is really exciting. I'm so happy that I got a chance to come up here.
We appreciate it.
Share my story. I don't think I've ever done a podcast about me before in my journey. I've only done it about this show or that show, but like
those things, they're cool, but that you're what's important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that we gave you the opportunity to tell your story and make it about you.
Thank you.
Yeah. And we're gonna have to I'm gonna have to come get a session in it because now I've seen you in action. I'm like, how's this training look? We're gonna have to see how this training looks. But
I'm getting back into it.
Nah, you're good. You're good. Don't worry. Look, as always, here at Strength We Trust, we appreciate you guys. Definitely hit that subscribe button at Strength We Trust on all platforms. We're looking forward to continuing to build this community out brick by brick, person by person. And we're going to catch you guys again real soon. And let's get out of here.
So
Peace.
Peace.